You're doing these dive bars and these huge stadiums simultaneously.
It's fantastic.
Does that keep you off balance, or is it just the same?
Man.
Yeah.
It's everything's a dive bar. Just what size is it? You know, it's so much fun.
The world of country music has just been shaken. 1 minute ago, Garth Brooks, one of the greatest performers in music history, shared news that no one was ready to hear. The man who gave us unforgettable anthems like The Dance and Friends in Low Places. The man who filled stadiums across the globe and broke every record in country music is suddenly at the center of headlines for something heartbreaking. For decades, Garth has been a symbol of strength, passion, and authenticity. A man who always gave his fans everything he had. But behind the bright lights and roaring crowds, something darker has been unfolding. Insiders close to the star say that what's happening now is the result of years of mounting pressure, emotional exhaustion, and personal struggles that even his closest friends didn't fully understand. As fans rush to social media searching for answers, questions are flooding in. What happened to Garth Brooks? Why is the news so devastating? And what does this mean for his future? And for the millions of fans who grew up with his music? The announcement is still fresh and reactions are pouring in by the second. But one thing is clear, this isn't just another story about a celebrity. This is about a legend confronting the one battle no fame or fortune can protect you from: real life. And as the truth comes out, it's leaving the entire world in shock. For over 3 decades, Garth Brooks has been the heartbeat of country music. His songs aren't just melodies, they're stories about love, loss, dreams, and the fragile beauty of life. From his early days playing smoky bars in Oklahoma to selling out stadiums across the world, Garth didn't just build a career, he built a movement. His connection with fans was real, emotional, and deeply personal. But behind that warm smile and boundless energy was a man who carried the weight of unimaginable pressure. Garth's journey to superstardom began humbly. He was just a small-town kid with big dreams, raised on country roots and hard work. When he broke into the Nashville scene in the late 1980s, few could have predicted how quickly he'd redefine the genre. Blending traditional country storytelling with the showmanship of rock concerts, Garth changed everything. He didn't just perform, he lived every song. His concerts became larger-than-life events. His albums shattered sales records. And soon, he wasn't just a country artist. He was a global icon. But with massive fame came massive expectations. Every show, every album, every interview had to be perfect. Fans adored him, the media followed him relentlessly, and the music industry demanded more hits, more tours, more everything. Behind the scenes, the strain began to take its toll. Insiders recall that Garth, though always professional, often struggled with fatigue and emotional burnout. He never stopped, one close associate once said. Even when he was exhausted, he felt responsible for giving people joy. Then came the personal sacrifices. Garth's success often meant time away from his family. He's spoken openly about the guilt of missing milestones in his children's lives and the toll that years of touring took on his relationships. In the late 1990s, at the height of his fame, he shocked the world by stepping away from the spotlight to focus on family. At the time, few understood why someone at the top of the world would walk away. But to Garth, it was survival. He once said, "You can have all the fame in the world, but if you lose the people who matter most, what's the point?" For a while, that break seemed to bring peace. Garth dedicated himself to his kids and stayed largely out of the public eye. But music was in his blood, and after years away, he made a triumphant return in the 2010s. Selling out shows once again and proving that true legends never fade. Yet even during this comeback, signs of weariness began to show. Touring took a physical toll. Long flights, sleepless nights, and the constant pressure to outdo himself created a storm few could see, but many close to him felt brewing. Now, with this latest announcement, fans are beginning to connect the dots. The man who always gave everything may finally be reaching his limit. Reports from those close to him describe Garth as emotionally drained, dealing with personal challenges that have compounded over time. While the full details of his revelation remain unclear, it's clear enough that it has shaken both his inner circle and his global fan base. Garth Brooks has always stood for resilience, for hope, for the power of music to heal. But even the strongest hearts can only take so much. This breaking news, as devastating as it is, might also reveal something deeply human. That even legends have moments when they need to stop, breathe, and heal. As fans wait anxiously for more details, one thing remains certain: Garth's story is far from over. But what happens next may change how the world sees him, not just as a superstar, but as a man confronting the pain behind the spotlight. The news Garth Brooks shared has sent shockwaves through the music world. It isn't just another rumor or headline, it's something deeply personal and painfully real. According to close sources and statements from his team, the country icon has decided to step back indefinitely from performing and public appearances, citing overwhelming emotional exhaustion and health concerns. For someone whose life revolved around the stage, this announcement hit like a thunderclap. Fans who had already been eagerly awaiting his next tour were left in disbelief. The announcement came quietly, but with enormous impact. Garth's official statement, though brief, revealed the weight of what he's been carrying. "I've given everything I have to this music and to the people who supported me through every chapter," he shared. "But right now, my heart and body are telling me I need to stop and take care of myself." Those words, simple yet heartfelt, painted a picture of a man who has finally reached the point where even his legendary strength can no longer push through the pain. Behind the scenes, insiders report that the decision didn't come overnight. Garth had been battling fatigue, stress, and recurring health issues for months, trying to keep them under wraps while fulfilling his commitments. The toll of nonstop touring, managing business ventures, and the emotional demands of fame proved to be more than anyone could endure indefinitely. Those close to him describe a man torn between his love for performing and his need to protect his health and peace of mind. The reactions from fans have been overwhelming. Social media platforms were instantly flooded with emotional tributes, videos, and messages of love. Hashtags like the "We Love You Garth" and "Take Care Garth" began trending within minutes. Fans from around the world shared memories of concerts, songs that changed their lives, and stories about how his music carried them through tough times. One fan wrote, "Garth Brooks was there for us through heartbreak, loss, and joy. Now it's time for us to be there for him." The country music community also rallied behind him. Fellow artists expressed both sadness and respect for his decision. Trisha Yearwood, Garth's wife and longtime collaborator, was among the first to speak publicly, asking fans for understanding and privacy. "Garth has always given everything to his fans," she said. "Now he's choosing to give something to himself." Her words resonated deeply, highlighting the emotional weight of the moment and the love that anchors their marriage. Industry experts have described the move as both courageous and necessary. Garth Brooks is no stranger to hard decisions. He walked away from fame once before to prioritize family. But this time the situation feels different. This isn't about stepping away for personal reasons alone. It's about healing, both physically and emotionally. Insiders say he's been struggling with health issues that, while not publicly disclosed, have become serious enough to require long-term rest and medical attention. The timing of the announcement also caught many off guard. With several major performances and potential collaborations rumored for the upcoming year, fans were expecting an exciting new chapter in Garth's career. Instead, they were faced with the heartbreaking reality that their hero needed to step back before it was too late. Yet, despite the sadness, there's also an overwhelming sense of admiration for his honesty. In a world where many stars push themselves to the brink for fame and fortune, Garth's decision to prioritize well-being over success shows the true measure of his character. As the dust settles, one truth becomes clear. This moment marks a major turning point, not only in Garth Brooks' life, but in the entire country music world. His announcement serves as a reminder that even icons are human, and that sometimes the bravest act is not stepping on stage, but stepping away from it. For years, Garth Brooks carried the image of a man who could handle anything. The fame, the expectations, the constant scrutiny. He wore it like armor. But even the strongest person can only carry so much before something cracks. Those close to Garth began noticing the change long before the public did. He stopped taking calls from close friends. He turned down interviews. And when he did appear, fans saw the difference. The tired eyes, the forced smiles, the once energetic performer now appearing almost distant. According to longtime bandmates, the turning point came during a major tour stop in Nashville. What should have been another sold-out, high-energy concert ended with something entirely unexpected. Midway through the show, Garth reportedly paused, took a long breath, and simply whispered into the microphone, "I need a moment." The crowd went silent. Moments later, he walked off stage, leaving thousands of fans stunned. Insiders later revealed that Garth had been struggling with deep, emotional exhaustion. The relentless pace of his career had caught up to him, and he was battling the overwhelming pressure to keep living up to his own legend. For someone who always gave everything to his audience, stepping away, even for a few minutes, felt like failure. But it was actually a cry for help. Around this time, reports surfaced about Garth's growing frustration with the industry. He'd spoken privately about feeling misunderstood, saying that fame wasn't what it used to be, that somewhere along the line, the heart and soul of country music had been replaced by something mechanical and hollow. Despite everything, Garth tried to push through. He returned to performing, smiling for the cameras, even reassuring fans that everything was fine. But behind the scenes, things were unraveling. Friends later admitted they feared for his well-being. The man who once sang with unstoppable passion now struggled to find the same spark that once made him unstoppable. At home, Trisha Yearwood, his wife and closest confidant, became his anchor. She encouraged him to step back, to focus on his health and happiness. Garth took her advice seriously. For the first time in decades, he paused. He spent time away from the spotlight, surrounded by his daughters and the quiet of his Oklahoma ranch. But even then, he couldn't fully escape the weight of everything he'd built. He'd once said in an interview, "I don't know how to be halfway. I either give everything or I give nothing." And that's what made his next decision so difficult, to step away from music entirely, at least for now. Fans were devastated. Social media exploded with concern, speculation, and heartbreak. Many feared that the man who defined a generation of country music was walking away for good. But those closest to Garth knew this wasn't about quitting, it was about survival. The truth was, Garth Brooks had reached his breaking point. The fame, the endless touring, the emotional toll, it all came crashing down. And though it shocked the world, it also revealed something deeply human about one of music's greatest icons. Behind every legend is a person simply trying to hold it together. As the news spread, fans around the world began sending love and support. Thousands of messages poured in, urging him to take care of himself, reminding him that his music had already changed lives. And maybe for the first time in years, Garth started to believe that was enough. When Garth Brooks finally broke his silence, the entire music world stopped to listen. After months of speculation, his fans were desperate for answers, hoping for good news, fearing the worst. And when Garth appeared on camera, sitting quietly on his Tennessee ranch with Trisha Yearwood beside him, it became clear that what he was about to share would change everything. With a heavy breath, he began, "I've spent my whole life on the road. I've sung to millions of people, and I've loved every second of it. But sometimes, life gives you a sign that it's time to stop running." His voice trembled as he continued, revealing that he was stepping away from music indefinitely. Not because he wanted to, but because his body and mind simply couldn't take the strain anymore. For Garth, this wasn't just another career break. It was a painful realization that his years of pushing through exhaustion had finally caught up with him. He admitted that he'd been battling severe fatigue, bouts of depression, and the emotional cost of decades spent constantly performing. The confession was raw, honest, and deeply human. Fans who'd seen him as invincible were suddenly confronted with the truth. Even legends have limits. Trisha, fighting back tears, added, "We've been through a lot together, but this is about finding peace." The two shared how they planned to spend time focusing on family, health, and rediscovering what happiness really meant away from the spotlight. It wasn't a goodbye, but it felt like one. As the video spread online, millions of fans expressed heartbreak and gratitude. The outpouring of love was overwhelming. Messages flooded social media, fans thanking him for the memories, the songs, and the way his music had helped them through their own darkest moments. Country music stations across America began replaying his classics, calling it the Garth Brooks Weekend, a tribute to the man who changed the genre forever. Industry insiders say that Garth's honesty has sparked a much-needed conversation about mental health in the music world, something often ignored behind the glitz and glamour. His courage to speak openly has inspired countless artists to acknowledge their own struggles. In a way, Garth's vulnerability became his most powerful message yet. But perhaps the most emotional moment came at the end of his announcement. Looking directly into the camera, Garth said softly, "If this is the last time you ever hear from me, I just want to say, thank you. You gave me a life I never dreamed I could have, and I'll carry your love with me for the rest of my days." It was a goodbye wrapped in gratitude, the kind that leaves a mark on anyone who's ever loved his music. In those words, you could hear both relief and sadness, as if Garth was finally letting go of a burden he'd carried too long. Since that moment, Garth has stayed mostly out of the public eye. Occasionally, he's seen around his hometown, smiling quietly, appearing content. Friends say he's been spending time riding horses, cooking with Trisha, and enjoying the quiet life he never truly had. There's peace in his eyes now, a kind of calm that fame could never give him. Still, for millions of fans, the thought of a world without Garth Brooks on stage feels almost impossible. His songs are more than just music. They're memories, milestones, and moments that defined generations. And maybe that's the real legacy he leaves behind. Not just the records, not just the fame, but the reminder that behind every great artist is a human being who gave everything for their craft, and, in the end, found peace in stepping away.